What's up, guys? It's Samantha Scarlett, and this is Bitcoin. I'm broadcasting to you guys from the financial capital of the world, Long Beach, New York. Okay, so today I'm going to be explaining to you guys Bitcoin, the blockchain, and the halving. A lot of people have an interest in Bitcoin, and they know what it is, kind of. They have an interest in buying some, maybe, but they don't really understand it. Why is it valuable? Why do I want to own this? How does it work? What is the blockchain? So today we're going to talk about that. So starting off with the history of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was started in 2008 by a person. I say person, and we'll get into that shortly. Actually, most people assume it's a guy. I think it is a man, but we'll get into that in a second. Named Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi Nakamoto is allegedly a 45-year-old born April 5th. I think that's the day Kurt Cobain died. 1975, definitely not the year he died, in Japan. A Japanese, so a 45-year-old Japanese man. However, that's probably not the case. There's a lot of different people that people think might be Satoshi, ranging from this guy named Hal Finley, who was an early cryptographer who died in 2014, which also will play into something that we'll talk about in a second, who lived near a guy named Dorian Nakamoto, whose birth name is actually Satoshi Nakamoto, but some people think that Dorian Nakamoto might be Satoshi, but he claims not to be as well. And then there's also people that think it's Elon Musk. There's a lot of candidates. I think there's more than 10 to 15 people that have been alleged to be the founder of Bitcoin. There's even some people that have claimed to be the founder of Bitcoin, but they can't prove it. I could be the founder of Bitcoin, though I'm good at coding HTML. I used to be able to hard code HTML. I still probably could. And I used to be able to actually read and write Japanese. However, I kind of flunked out of my C++ programming classes, and I could never really get the handle of PHP. So yeah, I don't think anyone's going to buy that I created the blockchain, but I'll claim it right now. But anyway, yeah, so some people think it might be Elon Musk, that they could be this Hal Finley dude, it could be a lot of different people. No one knows who the fuck Satoshi Nakamoto is. However, one interesting thing that makes me think it probably was Hal Finley is that Satoshi Nakamoto owned or has in his Bitcoin wallet around 1 million Bitcoin. When Bitcoin hit 20,000 back in 2017, in December 2017, the big bull run of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto was worth, at the time, $19 billion. $19 billion in Bitcoin, making him the 44th richest person in the world at the time, okay? This guy was richer than Donald Trump. However, Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoin wallet has never been touched, which is why a lot of people think that he is dead, which would make sense with Hal Finley being Satoshi, because back when Hal would have died in 2014, Bitcoin was trading around $100, which he would have still been very wealthy, but not a billionaire. So that's some of the history on Bitcoin. And then maybe not obviously. So Bitcoin started out not being worth a whole lot, and it slowly chugged along and got to be worth a couple $100, and it hit $1,000, and then got all the way to where in December 2017, it was making worldwide news because it hit $20,000. And then it kind of slippery sloped down, and since hitting 20,000, the lowest it's gone is in January of 2019, so about a year and a half ago. It went into the $3,000 range, and then it slowly came back up, and by last July, it was at $13,000. Then it kind of went back into the hovered between $10,000 and $8,000 for a while. Then in March, coronavirus happens, and it crashed. It went to don't quote me on this, around $3,700 on March 11th. It dipped below 4,000. And F you coronavirus, F you having real world responsibilities. I could not afford to invest at the time, and I'm so bummed because anyone that invested on that day in March at, let's say, even if you paid $4,000, Bitcoin earlier this evening was trading over $10,000. It's in the high nines right now. So those people made a $6,000 profit if they got out tonight. So yeah, that's some Bitcoin history. So now we're going to get into the scarcity index, hashing, the blockchain, and the halving. Okay, so we're gonna make this the simplest way. So Bitcoin is an internet currency, and to make the currencies or the transactions, there are computers called miners. When Bitcoin first started out, you could have your regular laptop, or maybe not a laptop, don't quote me on that, but you could have a home computer to run a mining operation off of, because there weren't that many people trading Bitcoin. Bitcoin now has a very high trading volume, kind of akin to the stock market. So now you need special designated miner computers, which if you have a miner, because I looked into mining Bitcoin ends up costing you about $300 to $400 per month in electricity. That's like, I mean, my apartment in New York City in the summer, with the air conditioning, costs me like $250 a month. So imagine year round just having a computer that is taking up the whole, like $100 more of electricity cost than my entire apartment in Manhattan, okay? Which I have LED lighting and neon lights, and I don't turn my lights off. Like, I am an energy hog. So I cannot imagine, and I hate paying those bills, but imagine just having a Bitcoin miner that takes up that kind of energy. So anyway, these are supercomputers that you have to use for Bitcoin mining. And the miners run the transaction. Now, you're probably wondering, why the hell would I spend $300 a month on mining? Well, every 10 minutes, one miner out of the whole thing, and the different miners make up the blocks and process the hash, and the hash is what makes the blockchain, because the blockchain is the network of these computers that make up the transactions. Every 10 minutes, one miner out of the whole blockchain wins the lottery, and that miner gets the block reward, which we will get into in a second. Now, right now, there's apparently around 1 million miners worldwide. So the chances of making the block reward that happens every 10 minutes would be literally, if there's 1 million miners, it's like a 1 in a million chance. So it's kind of like lottery statistics of making the block reward. So that's where we get into the halving and scarcity. Okay, so there are currently, as of, I got these quotes from like fall 2019. As of like November 2019, there were 18 million Bitcoin in circulation. There can only ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever that will ever be mined on the miners. So there's only 3 million Bitcoin that haven't been mined yet. That's why Bitcoin is scarcer than gold, because gold, while there is a finite amount of gold out there, there's so much untapped resources. There's so many literal gold mines out there. So there is gold that can still be mined. But Bitcoin, there is a ceiling on how many Bitcoin will ever be mined, and that's 21 million, and we have already mined 18 million of them. Now, of that 18 million that's been mined, there are 4,000 Bitcoins in wallets that have gone missing. Like, you know, so I personally keep my Bitcoin on apps. I keep it on Coinbase or Robinhood. I'm currently a Robinhood user. But some people actually like to buy Bitcoin through other channels, or like people that use Bitcoin for not so good things like the dark web and Silk Road, the bad side of Bitcoin. Those people usually keep their Bitcoin in wallets on hard drives. So it could be on a computer, it could be on an external hard drive. If that computer crashes, if your hard drive's broken, whatever, you lose that Bitcoin. So there's over 4 million Bitcoin that are thought to be lost. So that brings it down to that there are only 14 million Bitcoin in existence. Then you add in Satoshi Nakamoto, he had 1 million Bitcoin. So then there's only 13 million Bitcoin currently out there in circulation. So that's a high scarcity index. Now, you're wondering, how is there a cap on this? So the last Bitcoin will be mined approximately in the year 2140. And you're like, wait, we've already mined 18 million, but there's only 3 million to go, but they're not going to be mined. The last Bitcoin will be mined for over 100 years. How is that? Okay, so then we come into the halving. When Bitcoin, and the block reward. When Bitcoin first started, the block reward that happens every 10 minutes to one miner out of this like 1 in a million thing, which back then it wasn't a million miners. It's just, yeah, as you know, or as you can assume, there's more miners because there's more of a need for Bitcoin and there's more transactions and there's more people that know about that you can make the block reward. Anyway, so back when Bitcoin first started, the block reward was 50 Bitcoin, which sounds like a lot, but like back then Bitcoin wasn't really worth much. So anyway, the block reward was 50 Bitcoin. 4 years later, it halved. Every 4 years, it halves. So in, let me check my notes. In December of 2012, Bitcoin's block reward halved to where if you made the block reward, you got 25 Bitcoin. Then in July 2016, it halved again, 12.5 Bitcoin, which is our current block reward. In a few days, on May 12th, it's going to halve again, and it will be worth, the block reward will only be worth 6.25 Bitcoin. And then in 2024, I'm not sure what month because it kind of like fluctuates, but in 2024, it's going to halve again to 3 Bitcoin. Well, 3.1 something. Don't quote me on the point part, but it's going to halve and halve and halve and halve and halve every 4 years. So by like the 2030s, so like the next a decade or so from now, the block reward is going to be less than 1 coin. So therein comes the scarcity. So that's kind of like the blockchain and all that in a nutshell, and the halving and the scarcity of it. And I hope I wasn't too confusing about this. Also, for people that don't know much about Bitcoin, one of the great things about Bitcoin is that you can buy as much or as little as you want to. You don't have, it's not like the stock market. You don't have to buy the entire share. You don't have to buy a full coin. You could put $20 in and get like anything that's under a Bitcoin is called a Satoshi. And I forget how many Satoshis go into a Bitcoin, but there's like, you look at it, it's a bunch of zeros. So you could buy like 0.000.2 Satoshis of a Bitcoin. Okay, you can buy as little or as much as you want. I personally suggest buying more than less. Like if I'm buying Bitcoin, I don't like to put in more or less than $1,000 because like right now I bought my current stake in Bitcoin. I put $1,000 in when it was selling for around $9,255. Tonight, when it was over 10,000, I had made over $80 on my Bitcoin. If you only put in $20, you're gonna make like 10 cents, you know? You're not gonna make any sizable money. So I suggest investing more than less, but you need to watch the market. And we will get into talking about that. And so the halving, before I forget, there have been so many projections on what was going to happen with this halving. So many financial analysts and just smart tech people like McAfee and other people have had different projections. I believe McAfee's, and don't quote me on this, bitch, don't come for me. I believe McAfee's, his projection for Bitcoin was that it was going to go up, I think by the year I think he said the year is 2024. So this could still happen, that it was going to go up to $1 million. And there's a lot of people that think Bitcoin will reach $1 million. I don't want to be pessimistic. I don't personally believe that it's going to hit 1 million. It could. I hope it does. I hope it does. I hope it does. I, however, do believe the people that think it's going to hit 100,000 at some point. I don't know when, but I do believe it's going to hit that. And 50,000. 50,000 I think is doable. I honestly believe if coronavirus hadn't happened and fucked up the economy, but we might be able to get through this, that Bitcoin would have hit 50,000 this year. I almost 100% do believe, though, that Bitcoin is going to hit 20,000 in 2020. That I'm pretty confident on. I think that with the halving coming up, I think it's very possible that it could hit 15,000 or more this month. And I think a lot of people believe that. Just the volatility on the market. I mean, Bitcoin has been making news again. Like a week or two ago, it went around when I bought back in. Bitcoin went up over $2,000 in one day. Okay. Please tell me what other investment you have that has done that. Does gold go up $2,000 in one day? No. People get excited when gold goes up $50. Does Tesla stock go up $2,000? No, I don't think that's ever happened in the stock market. So Bitcoin's a very interesting and volatile investment. Obviously, do not invest if you can't, do not put money that you can't afford to lose into the stock market or into Bitcoin or any investment. Unless it's a safe haven investment like a house. Well, your house can go down in value, but you have the house. Do not invest in something that can just like be lost overnight. But I suggest getting into Bitcoin before it halves on the 12th. So anyway, that's my video for now. Hope you enjoyed these. I will keep going. Subscribe to my channel. And you guys can find me on Instagram at Samantha Scarlett Music. That's Scarlett spelled with 2 T's and an E. Anyway, talk to you soon. And if I get enough subscribers, we'll start like live streams and talking about Bitcoin, bring on guests. Hells yeah. Later.